Hi, I'm Andy Briggs, the author of Tarzan the Greystoke Legacy, which is a brand new reboot of Tarzan, and this year Tarzan is 100 years old, so come along and help us join the centenary celebrations.
Why did you redo Tarzan?
Tarzan is a more relevant character now than he ever has been since Burroughs created him 100 years ago. He was the world's first eco-warrior. He preserved the environment, he looked after the endangered animals way back in a time when nobody cared. Tarzan is a more relevant character now than he ever has been in 100 years.
Did you have any complaints from fans?
When Tarzan was first announced with the Edgar Rice Burroughs estate, we had lots of Tarzan fans who were, they were real Tarzan warriors who'd adored him all their lives, and they complained. They pretty much thought nobody should be allowed to change Tarzan or reboot Tarzan. But luckily the fan clubs then read it and they came aboard, and I'm very happy that the fans, like myself, endorsed this now.
Jane, has she got blonde hair in yours or dark hair, and what was originally correct?
Jane is in fact a blonde. We had a very interesting debate over this. I had somebody from the Edgar Rice Burroughs estate actually, when they read the manuscript, say that Jane is a brunette, until I sent the actual page number of the line in Burroughs' original which describes her with fur hair. She's a blonde.
What's your favourite idea and book in Tarzan in the series?
Ooh. My favourite Tarzan book that Burroughs wrote, out of all 26 of the books he wrote, has to be Tarzan and the Beasts. Because it's when Tarzan goes back into the jungle, it's when it becomes the real Tarzan that we remember from the films and the TV shows, and that's when Tarzan's that primal warrior, and that was the most fun, I think, out of all the Tarzan books.
I seem to remember something about a film being made of this again.
Yeah, well, there are a number of Tarzan movies you can see, but next year there's going to be a 3D Tarzan animated family feature, which I'm going to be first in line to see, and I'm sure it's going to bring a whole new generation of Tarzan fans to the cinema, which can't be a bad thing.
In your book, it's about a soldier, isn't it, or something like that? What is it?
What I did with the book, I took all the essence of Tarzan from both Burroughs' original and from the films and from the whole culture of Tarzan. What I didn't want to do was rewrite Burroughs. Burroughs' original story stands alone, it's still fantastic. I wanted to just bring a reinvented Tarzan, using the same characters but bring them up to date and see how he plays in this world. So we now have Jane, as Jane was in the original, except this time she's in the jungle because her father's an illegal logger and he's dragging this expedition through, including his daughter, through the middle of the Congo. And then we have Tarzan, and Tarzan's history, the Lord of Greystoke, still stays the same, but there are certain angles that have changed and have matured slightly over the generations. And then we have Diano, who's the soldier who originally taught Tarzan how to speak. He was in the Burroughs original. Now what I've done with Diano is he's mentioned in this book, we get a hint of them, and you have to wait until July 5th when we find out more about how Diano found Tarzan in the jungle, taught him to speak, and learned Tarzan's ways.
On your picture there's an interesting one of a jet.
The jet on the, well, first of all, the jet on the cover is to sort of give a hint of some of the modern tonnage to the piece, but I read through quite a lot of research material, not just from plane survivors, especially in the Amazon. There seems to be lots of crashes in the Amazon, of how people have survived in the jungle, but also looking into not just about plane crashes, but civilizations that are still out there undiscovered. For example, in this day and age, you wouldn't think that you have planes dropping into the ocean or in the middle of the jungle, but it still happens. Likewise, you wouldn't think there are undiscovered civilizations. Well, just last year one was discovered in the Amazon group, a tribe who had never made human contact. Interestingly, as the research plane flew around them, all the tribal guys were firing arrows and throwing spears at the plane, which was truly incredible to see that this is alive and well. So yes, planes are crashing all the time in the jungle.
With the actual cover, who designed it as well, do you know?
Faber, who published the book, they have a say in the cover and they work with the estate to try and get the aesthetics right. As an author, you tend to get shown different variations and you can give your input, but the marketing people are the professionals. They know what to do. So you pretty much sort of nod and agree and tell them what you like and tell them what you don't like, and things get tweaked and changed.
Are there any other different variations to cover?
There are a number of slight variations with differing figures of Tarzan, different variations of the plane. I remember one of the planes we looked at was positioned in a different direction. It didn't have any smoke coming out of it. It just looked a little bit unusual. So we re-engineered that slightly. I remember looking at there's different versions of covers online without the darker edge, which I think gives it a little bit more atmosphere, which are just bright red, which looks rather unusual. So there are earlier covers that you can see.
So it's all the same no matter where you go in whatever country?
No, not necessarily. This is the UK and Commonwealth cover, so in Canada, South Africa, Australia, it's going to be the same cover through Faber, but different publishers around the world have got different covers. It's just been launched in April in Israel, so there's a Hebrew edition, and I'm just waiting to see what that cover is going to look like.
Out of all the Eco Warriors, is Tarzan your favourite?
Tarzan was the original. Tarzan is the best. You've had the spin-offs. You had George of the Jungle. You've had all kinds of rip-offs or Burroughs that base themselves around Tarzan, but Tarzan is the ultimate warrior. And the nice thing about Tarzan being an eco-warrior is the fact it was never intentional. It was never something that he set out to do. All Tarzan's doing is protecting his family, who are the apes, who are the animals. All he's doing is protecting his home, which I think is a very real truth that we all share. We all want to protect our home, and that's exactly what Tarzan does. It just so happens his home is the environment, his family are endangered animals, so it falls within that eco kind of band.
The book has a charity connection. What is it?
For every Tarzan book that we sell, we're giving a donation towards this charity called the Ape Campaign, which is run by EASA, the European Association of Zoos and Aquaria. They basically oversee all the zoos across the UK and across Europe. Now, for 100 years, Tarzan has been made famous by the apes, Tarzan, Lord of the Apes, but he's never given anything back in the real world. So for every book we sell, we're going to donate towards their charity. So if you buy a Tarzan book and there's a little bit in the back about it, you are genuinely helping endangered chimps and bonobos, gibbons, orangutans and gorillas. So finally Tarzan's given back to the apes that made him famous for 100 years.
Have you got a favourite quote?
My favourite quote is, and unfortunately I can't remember the name of the Tarzan, it's from a Tarzan movie. It was a Johnny Weissmuller movie, when Tarzan just looks at Jane and says, "Now Tarzan, make war," which to me is my favourite ever Tarzan quote.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you very much.